Emily giggled as she chased her golden retriever, Max, across the sun-dappled meadow. The summer air was filled with the sweet scent of blooming flowers, and the distant hum of bees added a peaceful melody to the scene. Suddenly, a shadow fell over the meadow, and a deep, menacing roar filled the air. Emily stopped, her laughter frozen in her throat, as she looked up to see a colossal spaceship descending from the sky. "Max, come here!" she called, but the loyal dog had already sensed the danger and ran back to her side. Emily's eyes widened in terror as the ship's sleek, black surface glinted ominously in the sunlight. Before she could react, a bright beam of light shot down from the ship, striking the ground with a deafening explosion. Emily's scream was lost in the chaos as the world around her erupted into flames. Captain Alex Carter stood in the command center, watching the live broadcast of the attack. His fists clenched at his sides as he saw the destruction unfold. The Zarkin Empire had struck without warning, targeting a small, peaceful town to send a message. The screen flickered, and the image of a smiling, 12-year-old girl filled the screen. Emily. Her bright eyes and innocent smile were a stark contrast to the devastation that followed. "They killed her, Alex," Dr. Sarah Lennox said, her voice shaking with emotion. "They killed a child to intimidate us." Alex's jaw tightened. He had seen too much loss, too much pain. Emily's death was a reminder of his own family's tragic fate. "We can't let this go unanswered," he said, his voice low and determined. "We owe it to Emily and everyone else they've hurt." Sarah nodded, her eyes filled with resolve. "Then we fight back." The world mourned as news of Emily's death spread. Vigils were held in every major city, her picture held high as a symbol of innocence lost. Earth's leaders convened, their grief and outrage uniting them in a common cause. The decision was unanimous: they would not be cowed by the Zarkin Empire. In a high-tech laboratory hidden beneath the Rocky Mountains, Earth's top scientists and engineers worked tirelessly. They unveiled the Star Destroyer, a massive warship designed to counter the Zarkin threat. Equipped with advanced weaponry and defensive systems, it was humanity's best hope. Alex walked through the bustling corridors of the Star Destroyer, observing the preparations. Every face he saw was filled with determination. These were people who had lost loved ones, who had suffered at the hands of the Zarkin Empire. And now, they were ready to fight. He entered the briefing room, where his hand-picked crew awaited. "We all know why we're here," Alex began, his voice steady. "The Zarkin Empire thinks they can intimidate us, break our spirit by killing an innocent girl. But they are wrong. Emily's death has only strengthened our resolve. We fight for her, for every family torn apart by their cruelty." The crew members nodded, their expressions grim but resolute. Among them was Lieutenant Mark Evans, a young pilot whose parents had been killed in a previous Zarkin raid, and Dr. Lena Kim, a brilliant engineer who had lost her brother in the initial invasion. "We will make them pay," Sarah added, standing beside Alex. "For Emily, and for everyone else." The room was silent for a moment, the weight of their mission sinking in. Then Alex raised his fist. "For Emily! For Emily!" The crew echoed, their voices united. As the Star Destroyer prepared for launch, Alex stood on the bridge, looking out at the stars. The memory of Emily's smiling face filled his mind, fueling his determination. The Zarkin Empire had made a grave mistake. They had awoken the spirit of humanity, and now they would face its wrath. The engines roared to life, and the Star Destroyer surged forward, a beacon of defiance and hope. The fight for Earth's future had begun. The Star Destroyer cut through the void of space, its massive silhouette a testament to humanity's defiance. Captain Alex Carter stood on the bridge, watching the stars streak past. "We've entered Zarkin territory," Lieutenant Mark Evans announced, his voice steady despite the tension in the air. "All hands prepare for engagement," Alex ordered. The hum of the ship's advanced systems thrummed beneath his feet, a comforting reminder of Earth's ingenuity and resilience. In the war room, Dr. Sarah Lennox and the engineering team were making final adjustments to the ship's weapons. "We need to be ready for anything," Sarah said, her eyes flicking over the holographic display. Zarkin forces won't hesitate to throw everything they have at us. Lieutenant Lena Kim nodded, her fingers flying over the controls. Weapons systems are online and fully operational, she confirmed. Let's give them a fight they won't forget. The crew gathered for a final briefing. Alex faced his team, their eyes filled with determination and a shared sense of purpose. Our mission is clear, he began. We strike at the heart of the Zarkin Empire. This isn't just about revenge. It's about ensuring they can never threaten Earth again. Mark stepped forward, his voice carrying the weight of personal loss. They took everything from us. It's time we show them what humanity is capable of. The tension on the bridge was palpable as they approached their first target, a Zarkin outpost orbiting a barren moon. Enemy ships detected, Mark reported. They've spotted us. All units, battle stations, Alex commanded. The Star Destroyer's cannons hummed to life, the ship vibrating with latent power. The first salvo of plasma beams lit up the dark expanse, striking the Zarkin ships with deadly precision. Explosions rocked the enemy fleet, but they quickly regrouped, returning fire with a barrage of their own. Alex watched the battle unfold, his mind racing through tactical maneuvers. Evasive action, now! He shouted as a barrage of enemy fire streaked toward them. The Star Destroyer banked sharply, the enemy fire passing harmlessly by. In the engineering bay, Sarah and Lena worked frantically to keep the ship's systems running. We've taken a hit to the port thrusters, Lena reported, sweat beading on her forehead. Reroute power from the secondary systems, Sarah instructed. We need to maintain maneuverability. The bridge shook with each impact, but the crew remained focused. Return fire, concentrate on their flagship, Alex ordered. The Star Destroyer's main cannon charged, a bright blue glow building at its core. Fire! Mark called out, and the beam shot forth, slicing through the enemy flagship. The explosion lit up the surrounding space, debris scattering in all directions. The remaining Zarkin ships faltered, their formation breaking apart. They're retreating, Mark reported, a hint of satisfaction in his voice. Hold your positions, Alex commanded. We're not done here. The Star Destroyer moved closer to the outpost, its weapons trained on the facility. Commence orbital bombardment, Alex ordered. The ship's cannons unleashed a devastating barrage, reducing the outpost to rubble. As the dust settled, a tense silence filled the bridge. Target neutralized, Mark confirmed. Alex allowed himself a moment of relief. Good work, everyone. But this is just the beginning. In the quiet that followed, Sarah approached Alex. We did it, she said, her voice a mix of exhaustion and triumph. Alex nodded, his eyes still on the viewport. We sent them a message. But the real fight is just beginning. Sarah placed a hand on his shoulder. And we'll be ready. The Star Destroyer continued its journey through the stars, a beacon of hope and defiance. The crew knew the battles ahead would be fierce, but they were prepared. For Emily, for Earth, and for the future of humanity, they would fight until the end. The Star Destroyer's alarms blared, casting an eerie red glow across the bridge. Captain Alex Carter's heart raced as the ship shuddered from another impact. Status report, he demanded, gripping the railing to steady himself. We've got a saboteur, shouted Lieutenant Mark Evans, his face pale. Internal systems are failing one by one. Someone's inside the ship, working against us. The revelation hit Alex like a punch to the gut. Lock down all critical areas. We need to find this traitor before it's too late, he ordered, his mind racing through potential suspects. In the engineering bay, Dr. Sarah Lennox and Lieutenant Lena Kim worked frantically to stabilize the ship's systems. We're losing power to the shields, Lena said, her voice tight with urgency. If we don't fix this, we're sitting ducks. Sarah's hands flew over the controls. Reroute all auxiliary power to the shields and find that saboteur. We can't afford any more surprises. Meanwhile, Alex led a team through the dimly lit corridors of the Star Destroyer, their footsteps echoing ominously. Keep your eyes open, he warned. The traitor could be anywhere. They reached the engine room, where a shadowy figure was hunched over a control panel. "Stop right there!" Alex commanded, raising his weapon. The figure turned, revealing the face of Lieutenant Harris, one of their trusted officers. "Harris, why?" Alex demanded, shock and anger mingling in his voice. Harris smirked, a twisted satisfaction in his eyes. "The Zarkin Empire promised me power and wealth beyond measure. You can't win this war, Alex. Earth is doomed." Before Alex could respond, Harris lunged at the control panel, triggering a series of explosions that rocked the ship. Alex tackled him, their struggle intense and brutal. "You're a coward!" Alex spat, finally subduing Harris. Breathing heavily, Alex called for backup. "Secure him in the brig. We'll deal with him later." As Harris was dragged away, Sarah's voice crackled over the intercom. "Alex, we've got a bigger problem. The sabotage triggered a chain reaction. The main reactor is overheating. We have minutes before it blows." Alex's mind raced. "Shut down the reactor. We need to vent the core." "We're on it," Sarah replied. "But it's a delicate process. One wrong move and the whole ship goes up." In the reactor room, the heat was stifling. Sarah and Lena worked in tandem, their movements precise and focused. Sweat streamed down their faces as they carefully manipulated the controls. "Almost there," Lena murmured, her fingers dancing over the keyboard. "Got it!" Sarah exclaimed as the reactor's temperature began to drop. The immediate danger was averted, but the damage was done. Back on the bridge, Alex surveyed his weary crew. "Harris betrayed us, but he's not the end of our fight. We've come too far to turn back now." Mark stepped forward, determination burning in his eyes. "We're with you, Captain. For Emily, for Earth, we will not falter." Alex nodded, a steely resolve settling over him. "Prepare for the final assault. The Zarkin Empire will know the full strength of humanity's spirit." As the Star Destroyer surged forward, a renewed sense of purpose filled the crew. They had faced betrayal and danger, but their resolve was unshaken. The real battle was just beginning, and they were ready to face it together. The stars blazed outside the viewport, a reminder of the vast, unyielding universe. Alex clenched his fists, his gaze hard. They had one chance to strike back, and they would make it count. For Emily, for Earth, and for the future of humanity. The Star Destroyer emerged from hyperspace into the heart of the Zarkin Empire, its imposing presence a symbol of humanity's unyielding resolve. Captain Alex Carter stood on the bridge, his gaze fixed on the massive enemy fleet assembled before them. "All hands, battle stations," he commanded, his voice calm but resolute. A tense silence fell over the crew as they prepared for the imminent clash. Lieutenant Mark Evans broke the silence, his voice steady. "Enemy ships are locking weapons on us. They're ready for a fight." "Let them come," Alex replied. "We won't back down." The first volley of plasma bolts streaked through space, slamming into the Star Destroyer's shields. The ship shuddered under the impact, but the crew remained focused. "Shields holding at 70%, reported Lieutenant Lena Kim, her fingers flying over the controls. "Return fire," Alex ordered. The Star Destroyer's cannons roared to life, sending a barrage of energy beams toward the enemy fleet. Explosions lit up the void as several Zarkin ships were obliterated. In the chaos of battle, Alex's mind was a whirlwind of tactical calculations. "Focus on their command ship," he instructed. "Cut off the head and the body will fall." The Star Destroyer surged forward, weaving through enemy fire with agility. On the bridge, Dr. Sarah Lennox monitored the ship's systems. "Hull integrity at 85%. We can take a few more hits, but not too many," she warned. Alex nodded, his eyes never leaving the view screen. "We won't need long." As they closed in on the Zarkin command ship, the enemy's fire intensified. "They're throwing everything they have at us," Mark observed, his voice tense but controlled. "Stay sharp," Alex said. "This is our chance." The Star Destroyer's main cannon charged, a brilliant blue glow building at its core. "Target locked," Lena confirmed. "Fire!" Alex commanded. The energy beam shot forth, striking the command ship with devastating precision. The ship exploded in a blinding flash, debris scattering in all directions. Cheers erupted on the bridge, but Alex held up a hand for silence. "It's not over yet," he cautioned. "We still have to deal with the rest of the fleet." The battle raged on, the Star Destroyer weaving through enemy formations, picking off ships one by one. Despite their superior numbers, the Zarkin fleet began to falter, their coordination shattered by the loss of their command ship. In the midst of the fight, a transmission came through. "This is Emperor Zarkin. Surrender now, or face annihilation." Alex activated the comms. "This is Captain Alex Carter of the Star Destroyer. We will never surrender. We fight for Emily, for Earth, and for every life you've taken." The final clash was fierce, but the tide had turned. The Star Destroyer's crew fought with renewed vigor, their determination unwavering. One by one, the enemy's ships were destroyed or forced to retreat. As the last of the Zarkin fleet was vanquished, a weary but triumphant silence settled over the bridge. "We did it," Mark said, a smile breaking through his exhaustion. Alex took a deep breath, allowing himself a moment of relief. "We did," he agreed. "But we have to make sure they never threaten us again." The Star Destroyer returned to Earth as a beacon of victory. Crowds gathered, cheering and waving banners as the ship descended. Alex stood at the forefront, his heart swelling with pride and relief. In a ceremony honoring the fallen, Emily's picture was displayed prominently. "Today, we honor Emily and everyone who sacrificed for this victory," Alex said, his voice filled with emotion. "We've shown that humanity will not be intimidated, that we will stand together against any threat." Dr. Sarah Lennox approached Alex, her eyes bright with pride. "We made it," she said softly. Alex nodded, his gaze on the horizon. "We did. And now we rebuild. Stronger than before." As the sun set, casting a golden glow over the cheering crowd, Alex felt a deep sense of fulfillment. They had faced the darkness and emerged victorious. For Emily, for Earth, and for the future, they had proven that humanity's spirit could not be broken. The chapter ends with a sense of closure and hope, the narrative tying up loose ends while leaving room for future adventures. The emotional depth and rising tension throughout the chapter ensure an engaging and satisfying conclusion to the story.